Hi, everyone. Welcome to Who Can It Be Now? I am Marilyn Aloria. I'm a psychic medium, teacher, coach. I need to change that title soon, and it'll change soon, only because what I'm doing is going beyond that. It's going so beyond that. And I'm super excited about who I'm serving, who I'm working with, how I'm doing my work, and how I'm helping. So I have a really interesting podcast for you today. As many of you know or don't know, I have a program called Next Level Living. And in Next Level Living, the third tip that they get at the time of this recording, it's March 29th, 2024, because sometimes things change. I do a wrap-up tip for the month. So every month I teach some new material. And this month was a whole new way of being. This is not a sales pitch. I'm going to share with you what's going on. And so in tip number 3, they're able to ask me any questions they have about the material. A lot of times they don't have questions. And I think that's because the material is so inclusive for the month in terms of just teaching and experiential. They get out. What they do is it's a 2-hour class, right? They learn something from my guides. I teach them something and we do it live together and have fun with it. And then they go out into their world with a workbook and they do it themselves and they put their own stamp on it, right? Because everybody has a soul print and they do what they need to do with it. And I think a lot of people don't have questions at the end because they're having their own experience and it's perfect for them. So I just did this tip and I was like, I really have to share this with other people who aren't in the program because I think it's really important, because I'm really about getting this message out to everyone for you to learn how to be your whole new way of being, your whole being, yourself. So I'm going to give you a bit of an introduction here before you go in and listen to it. And there won't be an outro in that particular tip because we'll just be pulling it from the material from Next Level Living. So I am going through a extremely beautiful, magical, amazing transformation in my own personal being and in my life. And it is a very multidimensional experience. It is tapping into all different areas and aspects of my being. It's tapping into my relationship with God. I'm going to say this very clearly. I do not care what people believe in. And you're going to hear me say it a couple of times on the tip in Next Level Living, because it doesn't matter to me what you believe in. For me, it's God. For others, it's energy. It's the universe. It's themselves. It's your dog. I don't really care what it is. As long as it's something that incites a light inside of you, an ownership of self, knowing that you're a good person, you're here for a reason, then there's something very special about you, and it's healthy and healing and loving, then I have no problem with it. And not that I would have a problem with what you attach to anyway, because it's none of my business. So I have been having this whole experience with myself, and I'll go into a little more depth here with it. I was raised Catholic. My mother was a very open-minded spiritual woman, so I've shared this before. So my experience with Catholicism, thankfully from her, was a very open-minded experience. So I was in a school with cloistered nuns. And if you don't know what cloistered nuns are, I'll explain to you my first meeting with a cloistered nun. I think I was about 4 or 5. My mother had to get me on the list to get into the school. She said she literally did it when I was born, because you have to get on the list really early. So it was this very special Catholic school that I'm going to tell you that the mafia princesses went to. I went to school with all the mafia princesses. Didn't know that at the time. Sure, that wasn't on my mother's radar either. She was just like, I want my daughter to go to that school. And she took me to the interview. And we went into this little hallway, rang the bell, got, access into the hallway, and was standing in front of this shrouded window. And all of a sudden we hear, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Who's that? What is that?" Like, I'm thinking God's speaking to me because I don't see anybody. And this voice is booming. And my mother said, "It's the sister. She's behind the window." And I remember, so they took me into a room without my mother and they interviewed me to see if I was okay for the school. And apparently I had a very high IQ, but I definitely didn't perform that in my schooling. But or at least that's what they thought. But I remember going home and talking to my mother, or on the way home talking to my mother and asking her, like, what was that? And she explained to me they were cloister nuns. and that they don't, engage with the public and stuff. And I was like, well, how do they teach? I don't think I had that question at 5, but we were taught by the lay nuns. I think I did actually have the question because she explained the difference between the cloister nuns and the nuns that taught. So that was my introduction to, really wasn't. I feel like I came out of the womb spiritual. I was having clairvoyant dreams at a very early age. I was having experiences, and my mother was giving me different types of spiritual items to help me get through the fear that I was having. So my spirituality was very, very strong. So recently, with the passing of my mother, which has reopened the door in a very big way towards my spirituality, and the therapist I was working with at the time, she was very much about relationship with God. I started like re-entering into this space, and I'd been entering into it for quite some time. I always pray every single night. I always use prayer cards, especially when I was opening up to my mediumship and spirits were showing up for me. I ran to the spirit cards, the prayer cards of saints, because that's what my mother taught me when I was younger, when I was having those experiences. So I would sleep with I had a mound of prayer cards underneath my pillow, and I would have rosary beads and everything to feel safe. And I'd say prayers every single night. And I still say prayers. I don't put them under my pillow anymore. I'm not afraid. I don't have to sleep with a nightlight. I'm not afraid. But those were the experiences I was having. So I've always had this aspect of myself. I think there was a very brief moment in time where I was denouncing it because I didn't understand it. So I've been indulging and getting into it a lot, and even reading the Bible a little bit, and like, I don't resonate with this. I'm not going to get into a whole spiritual conversation about this. But what I have found, and what you'll hear in this tip, is the purity of my relationship with things in my life, and how much people mark it up, and how much people get in the way of our pure relationship with source, God, universe, but mainly with ourselves. So we lose the truth of ourselves. We forget who we are. So it's really important. And I just shared this in the tip, which you'll hear. I gave them something to do, that you get into the pure relationship of you and anything you're in relationship with. It's your opinion. It's what you feel. It's who you are. It's what your truths are. That's why I never get in the way of anybody I teach. I never get in the way of what their beliefs are, because it's not my relationship to have. So I just had somebody rejoin into Next Level Living, and she was sharing with me on the orientation call that she was doing astrology. And most people know how I feel about astrology, right? I'm starting to have a different experience with astrology, but I don't follow astrology. I don't really, it feels like a box to me. That's my experience of it, but I never have a problem with people that do it. I don't really care. As long as, you're approaching it in a way where you're not disempowering yourself. So she was sharing with me what she was doing with astrology, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's great. It was fantastic. Fantastic. Matter of fact, I wish I knew what her product was so I could share it with all of you. But maybe we'll do an interview with her down the line so she could share it, because I thought it was so good. And so I was able to help her more with it, because it's not my relationship to have with astrology. It's her relationship. You never want to be with a teacher, a mentor, or somebody who's going to get in the way of your relationship with something. Now, a lot of you are in relationships with people for a very long period of time, and you're starting to change and shift and starting to develop this side of yourself, and your spouse may not be on board with it. And I've shared this before because I've seen this happen many, 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 many times, more times than I can count. And what I've noticed majority of the times is when you get on board with it, your spouse will get on board with it too. They are reflecting back to your own insecurity. You may not think so, because they may be like, that's bullshit. This isn't true. How could you believe that? And what I've seen, I'm telling you, 90% of the times, is when the person becomes very secure in how they feel, their spouse gets on board with it. So I love it. So I share all of this with you because I'm having a mind-blown experience in my own life as I discover and uncover my absolute truth of why I'm here, who I'm here to serve, how I'm here to serve. And I will tell you who that is, because you're going to hear me speaking more and more about this. I am here to help the person. Now, I'm going to tell you who it is, and then I'm going to give you a caveat at the end. I am here to help the person who is about to retire or is already retired. They feel their life isn't over. They have been doing some personal studies for a few years, if not longer. They've discovered through their personal studies that they have something they want to offer up out into the world. They may want to offer it through art, through singing, through a book, through speaking on stage, through a course, through anything. They want to offer it, and they're ready to do it. They're excited about it, and they recognize like a lot of people are coming out of a career that they were very loved, but it no longer speaks to them, and they feel this calling. And this calling is usually tapping into something they've had from a very early age. And what happened to the calling at the very early age, and I've taught this before, a lot of us are very sensitive. We're becoming even more sensitive. And what happened is we were younger. We were in our light. We felt our light. We shined our light, whatever the proper word is. And because we were so sensitive and we cared so much about other people and we wanted other people to be happy, we could feel that as we showed our light to the world, that the people closest to us felt bad about themselves in our light. And because we loved them so much, we decided to dim our light because we didn't want them to feel bad about themselves and we wanted to take care of them. So we turned down the dimmer and we went through other careers that touched on that light, but was never fully encompassing in that light. And then something happened. We became unhappy. We became dissatisfied. We recognized there was more to living. There was something out there that was calling us. So we went on a personal, internal journey. And through that journey, we discovered more about ourselves. And as we discovered more about ourselves, that light started turning up. And we started turning that light up. And as that light shone brighter, please somebody correct my English, we realized we had something to offer. We fell in love with our truth, with who we are, why we're here. And we recognized that all our life experiences have brought us to this moment. And that maybe you've already been delving into it. Maybe you were an artist, or you thought about being an artist, or you were a writer, or you were a singer, or you were a teacher. Maybe you taught kids. There's something in that career that all of a sudden you're realizing that this new part of you that's always been there, that now the light is turned up on, and this other part of you can now be combined. And that creates your unique soul print on the world. That's who I'm here to help. I'm help you to discover it, own it, trust it, live it. That is who I'm here to help. And that is who I help. That is who I help in my program, Next Level Living. So if you're interested in learning more about that program, go to marilynalauria.com/next, marilynalauria.com/next. And you can also go on that page, you'll see an overview and it'll explain the program. So what I want to share with all of you is, so it doesn't matter what age you're at. Some people aren't at retirement. They're 25 and they're ready to retire, right? So it doesn't matter. You're retiring from a chapter of your life. No matter where you're at, those are my people. And I'm having a huge amount of success. I should say the people I'm helping are having a huge amount of success because it's not me. I'm just offering up new ways of thinking. I'm very good at getting people to think out of the box, to use their creativity, their innovation, their heart and soul, to think differently. I have a great way of, and this I'm proud of. I'm very good at multidimensional listening. It's listening on all different types of levels, seeing what you think are rocks in front of you that are just mere pebbles or pieces of sand, and asking you a question that clarifies. All of a sudden that rock shrinks down to a piece of sand, and you have a whole new way of thinking and being. I'm very good at that. So if you want to work with me more, great. Go to marilynlauria.com/next, or go check out my website. I have plenty of classes on there. marilynlauria.com, marilynlauria.com/classes. But most importantly, listen to this tip, take something valuable from it, and be it. And thank you so much. And so I'm going to give you my tagline, because I love my tagline now. It took me over 2 years to find it. Who can it be now? It's you. It is always you. Thank you so much. Please rate, review, subscribe. You're going to hear a little bit of music and you'll go into the tip. Thank you. Hey guys, it is me. It is tip number 3, a whole new way of being. And I've noticed tip number 3 does not get a lot of questions, probably because a lot of you are very self-sufficient and don't really have a lot of questions about the material because you feel satiated with what you've learned and how you're experiencing it in your life. I will probably be doing a town hall in April. I think I have something in my teeth. I'll probably be doing a town hall in April. I'm going to look at my calendar and see when I can fit it in, so that we can rediscuss that particular tip and see if there's something else that I can offer up to you, and also share with you the business components that I'm bringing into Next Level Living and how excited I am for them. But with any tip and every tip that I do, I'm still going to offer up a whole new way of being tip number 3 for all of you, a wrap-up tip. So interesting things have been happening in my life, and I'm sure they're happening in your life too. And I really believe that it's through the work that I'm doing, with my guides, my new guidance system. By the way, I own that URL, new guidance system. And I was looking for it the other day. I'm like, I need to buy that URL. I need to buy it. I'm like, somebody owns it. Who owns it? And then I was like, you know what? Go through your URLs. And I noticed that I have it. I own it. I was like, oh, good. I already bought it, because it's going to be something I do with that. Anyway. So the whole new way of being, what I've discovered in my own life is the more honest I am with myself, the more truthful I am with myself, the more that I live based on my codes, my personal being, who I am, the more the universe reflects that to me. And I'm seeing it in so many ways, and I'm exploring it in so many avenues. I'm exploring it with my relationship with God, and God has always been an important kind of person, energy in my life, even though I've gone in and out of relationship with God. And this is not about a God talk for all of you. It's whatever speaks to you. But I've noticed just recently, like I picked up the Bible again. I was starting to read it. And I'm like, don't relate to this. Might get into a spiritual talk and everything like that. But what I've noticed is my new relationship with God and how it was tainted by ways that I was brought up, not necessarily by my mother. She was a completely open-minded spiritual person. But I went to, I was very involved in Catholic schools and stuff like that, and as well as the way people reflected back to me, my own brothers and stuff like that. And I recognized when you remove all those people and those situations, you get to have a pure relationship with things. And it's quite remarkable what comes out of that purity. So through my removing certain obstacles out of my way, which I called pebbles yesterday on the training that I did yesterday, Spring to Success, removing the pebbles, we think they're big boulders, they're pebbles, literally flick it away, pebbles out of our way, we're able to create a very pure relationship with situations, experiences, deities, anything, planets, nature, ourselves mainly, in a very pure, beautiful way. And we're able to see the essence of the relationship come through with this. Purity is the best word that I could use, because it's clean. And it's for you, and it's very special, right? So we sit here and we work through things that we think are difficult. And if we remove the belief systems, which we've been working on in Next Level Living, or the mindset, or the doubts, or the fears, and those things are going to be there. There's nothing wrong with them, because there's certain kind of navigational tools that we use on our journey to learn about ourselves. But when you start just taking those things out of the equation, and you start to just work with your relationship with the thing, whatever it may be, it could be your career, it could be your business, it could be your offer, it could be your readings, it could be anything at all, because everything is in relationship to us. When you just are with that thing in relationship, it's very pure, and it's very based on your own being, your whole new way of being. You get to invite in better experiences, light experiences, expansive experiences, beautiful experiences, and you get to have just a very connected, cosmic, I can't find the words, relationship. So I will give an example like I always do with stories. I kind of want to remove things out of my way, because I think that that's the best way to express what's happening in my life. And then you get to experience it however you're going to have it in your life. So when I introduced you guys to the new guidance system, as many of you know, they came to me like 6, 7, 8 months ago, but we didn't start communicating only until like a couple of months ago, right? And I really feel they were the kickoff to this whole new way of being for me. Now, simultaneously, I had loss, right? I lost my dog. I lost certain things in my own life. I lost my mother. I lost my brothers now. Different things like they're alive, but I've chosen to see you later, which has been so freeing. But different things that I've let go of. But really, what I've letting go of is an old identity of me. And I don't even, as you can tell, like if I talk about my brothers, I'm not like angry or mad or blaming them for anything. I'm seeing the freedom in this relationship with my own being by removing obstacles out of my way, which are thoughts, forms, beliefs, anything you want to call them. So things like we always talk about multidimensional language, and I'm going to go a little bit all over the place. And there's always a multidimensional conversation happening with myself, and you too, right? You're having this experience. So it's never just the passing of a parent. It's also what's been going on around it that creates this opportunity for something so much more spiritual and magical and expressive. I don't have the words for what's going on in my life. You won't either. Because to define it would be to dilute it. And we don't want to dilute what is happening. So I have gotten super uber clear on who I'm serving. And it has been one of the most exciting things in my life. And I don't know that I've ever approached my work with this much excitement before. Now, I may have because I've had different iterations, and that's cool. Or I may just be in a different place where I'm receiving my own being and my own gifts in a whole new way so that I'm able to have this experience in a whole new way. And you will too. I'm sharing all of this so that you have it too, right? We are all incredibly gifted beings. We are all like, wow, my mind is getting blown with my relationship with God. And at 58, to finally understand it in the way that I'm understanding it, again, I don't care what you believe in. But to recognize that the universe, that source, God, whatever you believe in, your higher self, wants the best for you, truly wants the best for you, and is reflecting in you the best in you. And when you tap into that part of yourself, nothing's going to get in your way. Things will show up. They're going to show up. They are ways of growing. They're ways of healing. I had a moment yesterday in the grocery store where I was buying something and it brought me to my mom, as if she was actually there with me having that memory, like the memory was real. And we're visual people, right? We're feeling people. We're sensitive people. So I'm paying for the food, and this whole memory is in my being, and I'm holding back the tears just because I'm not comfortable. Like, I'm sure if I burst into tears, it'd be fine, right? Who cares what anybody thinks? The woman probably would have been like perfect. She would have been the angel that needed to be there at that moment. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do it also because I just didn't want to. It was like so up in my being. And it's moments like that you get to fully experience life and fully learn something about yourself and learn what type of person you are and how incredible you are. And I lost a little bit of my train of thought, but I'm going to go into this even more. So I've been so excited about what I'm creating, especially what I'm creating in Next Level Living, and who I'm serving and who I want to help. And it's all of you, right? It's people who are, some of you aren't in this age range, but most of you are in the late 50s, early 60s, some 70s, we're like against the universe is like, the society, not universe, because universe would never have this conversation with us. Society's like, it's retirement age. And we're like, wait a second, no, I've got like a whole new like chapter in me that's ready to come out. I'm bringing it out because I have this life experience and these gifts that I'm like finally realizing and uncovering and opening up to, and I'm ready to give it. And again, it doesn't matter what age you're having to have that experience. And it's so exciting to me to see people like doing that and being that and recognizing, no, their life's not over. It's just beginning. And so I was sitting with all of this happening because I'm just like, all these moments are happening and the universe is reflecting it back and showing me, this is it, Marilyn, this is it. And I'll share a couple of stories in a second. And as I was driving home from the store, I was thinking about all of you. And I was thinking about how much I care about every single person in this group and how I really care and about results and about how you're doing and everything. And some of you I have to reach out to because I haven't heard from, but most of you are very involved and I know where you're at and I know what you're doing. And then sometimes I reach out to some and you're like, we're okay. We're doing it on the back end. We're doing it behind the scenes. And some just may fall away from it, whatever reason, right? But I can hold all this space for all of you. And I'm like, why is that? Why aren't I tapped out? How come I can hold this space for everyone and invite even more in? And I realized it's because of all of you, that my heart opens up even more. My capacity is bigger and greater. And now I share this with all of you who are running businesses because you think, how could I serve all these clients or and when you have a client like all of you or whoever your perfect client is, your heart grows bigger and you can hold even more for them. And I have to tell you guys, I've never had this experience in my business. I'm going into my 19th year. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. I invite it. I love it. I have more energy. I'm not exhausted. Now, I am sure if I went back to my journals and the starting of Membership for Your Soul and teaching 28-day challenge, I know I had the capacity. But I also know that I'm a different person and the capacity is bigger and greater. So why do I share all of this with you? One, I want you reflecting on your relationship with everything. And if anything is discoloring that relationship, I want you to look at that. When I can't begin to tell you, and I'm having a conversation with somebody else who I'm hoping will join the NLL, but we'll see if it's the right thing for her. She's somebody that you all know, a lot of you know, and she's great. But we would start, and I don't want to say too much, but we were talking about God and everything because people don't realize that I was raised Catholic. I'm thinking about going back to the Catholic Church. Again, I don't care what people believe in. I don't care if you believe in the dirt on the ground. I don't really care. I care about you. But I've been thinking about it and I've been like submerging myself more into the material. And when I had this realization last night that this relationship with God is unmarked. My brother's a born again Christian. When you remove these components of I'm a bad person, I don't want to mark up Catholicism for me because it was very good for me, but I still was raised with cloister nuns. And when you think about all of that and you remove that and you get into the purity of the relationship with Source, you start seeing, and some of you may already have this because some of you have a very deep spiritual connection. But for me, what I recognize is, wow, there really is a love for me and a guidance for me and everything that I'm holding in my heart about what I want to do for others is from this source. And if it's not, Source is going to let me know, and it's okay because it'll move me in the direction I need to be. So I share all of this with you because I'm having moments. So I found my niche. How many times do we look for our niche? I don't think it's a big deal, honestly. I think it's more important to know why you're doing what you're doing and to do it. But to know what I want to do and then to find my niche, I was like, oh my goodness. And then to have it reflected back is blowing me away. So we started instituting ManyChat, which we'll start sharing a little bit more about this stuff with you. I don't want to overwhelm you guys right now, but So ManyChat's this automatic feature where we put things out there. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but so we're putting certain things of mine out there. We're not promoting it, not paying for anything. It's just all organic. And a couple of people are buying 10x from it. And I get an email from the second person, and she is exactly who I'm helping. She doesn't know me. And she wrote this email, and I'm like, that's my avatar. I don't even need to write my avatar. You just wrote it for me. The universe reflects back when you're in your whole being, not when you're in the labels of other people or in comparison of what other people are doing. So I'm witnessing all this unfold in my own life. And I've said to you that part of what I'm bringing into Next Level Living is the back end of my own business. And some of it, I'm even going to show you the back end because I want you to see it. But it's a little sophisticated, probably too sophisticated for where you need to be right now, but it might help you to like get creative and stuff. But I just want to share with you the biggest thing about this lesson this month and where we're going to go next month. I'm really excited about the lesson next month. Is the whole new way of being is your being, whoever you are, in connection to source, whatever source is for you. When Denzel Washington said, what is that, 25 years ago, Hurricane came out? I don't know how long ago it was. It's between you and God. And I understood in that moment, I now understand it even more. So whatever source is to you, and source could be your heart. Hopefully it is. Source can be your soul. Source can be your inner light. It doesn't matter, right? Whatever it is, I want you to continue to develop a relationship with that. And then I want you to go out into the world and I want you to look at situations and then pause and say, what does this have to do with my relationship with God, with source, with my light, whatever you choose? And get into conversation around that. And you're going to get really clear about why you're here, what you're meant to do, who you are, who you're meant to serve, how you're meant to serve. Look, a lot of people, some people that are in here don't want to build a business. No problem. No problem. But I know that those who don't, you're carrying individuals that have something to say and share, even if it's to the person you're sitting next to in a party or the person on the grocery store line. It's all important because it's your imprint, your soul print in the world that is going to help another soul. So get into your whole way of being and get ready for next month's lesson because it's going to be a lot of fun. Jess is going to email you about what you have to bring to the lesson. And let me know, comments-wise, what you think about this and what you feel about it. What is developing for you? It's not only my opinion. What makes Next Level Living so amazing is all of us together, right? So I want to know, like, what is coming up for you? What is something you want to share? What's something you've learned? Because we're going to learn from reading about you, and we're going to learn from something that you want to share with us. You all have expertise that I don't have, right? So I love hearing about holistic healing, crystals, frequencies, animal communication, herbs. I love hearing about all this stuff. Design, because I learn from all of you. And that makes me even more whole. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. I love you all, and I'm so excited to move forward. I can't wait for what we're developing here in Next Level Living. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. And obviously, this will be in the membership portal, so you can't comment there. So you have to come to the Facebook, and you can comment there. And if you can't find this video, whenever you listen to a tip, say it's evergreen, right? You listen to it 3 months down the line. Just go on and say, I just listened to tip number 3 from A Whole New Way of Being, and this is what I got from it. We're still going to learn. Okay. Good. because this is about all our experiences. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.